Today I'm going to give you guys a 2024 Galaxy Card Shop recap. We're going to go over the different revenue streams I've had throughout the year, my goals, and my predictions for 2025. So starting the video off, I'm going to go month by month and kind of show what my different income streams were for the year, as well as my expenses. And in the bottom right, you'll see the amount of hours that I streamed on Whatnot. So starting off here, we have January. You can see inventory is going to be my highest expense all throughout the year, and I think that's probably pretty similar for everybody doing Pokemon or any kind of business. Inventory is usually going to be the majority of your expenses. And as you can see in January here, supplies is only 2%, so I just bought some bubble mailers and stuff to start off. Inventory was mostly Japanese booster boxes. And then you can see the income streams for the first month was mostly Whatnot, 89.5%. And then I did a little bit of eBay and TCG Player. That was just kind of dipping my toes into those two. And I streamed for a little over 42 hours that month. Going into February, you see the inventory expenses are still high. Supplies are a little bit lower. And you can see that Whatnot still makes a majority of my income. I have a 91.5% of the income is by Whatnot. TCG Player scaled down a ton on there because I decided I didn't want to do singles that month. eBay is a little small, as well as Mercari. I started dipping my toes into Mercari, which you'll see throughout the rest of the graphs. And then I streamed for 85 hours, so almost double of January. And that's on Whatnot. Going into March, inventory and supply still staying steady at the same percentage, just about. Those are my only two expenses for the first few months. And then Mercari has taken up 7.2%. eBay has gone down, and TCG Player. And then Whatnot is 90.3% of the income. And I streamed for 62 hours, so about 20 hours less, but still a good amount. Going into April, and this is whenever I opened the galaxycardshop.com website, I had, obviously, the inventory was still the highest, but you can see the income has changed to 80% Whatnot, because I had decided at this time that I kind of wanted to scale down doing the live shows. It was taking up so much of my time, and I felt like I could scale better if I had a website. And this was inspired by other YouTubers such as Pokémon. I enjoyed the rip and ships, and you can see throughout the video that I still continued them, and that was the majority of the Whatnot was rip and ship. Some of them I did single shows, but it was very rarely, and I enjoyed the rip and ships, but I didn't like how much time it took up because I felt like I could get more orders from a website. So this is when I started the website, 9.6%. Mercari was a little high this month as well at 9.9%, and Whatnot was down to 80%. And you can see I lowered a little bit more in the stream time to 54 hours. Going into May, the website ramped up a lot this month. You can see it is up to 32.8%. Mercari at 11%. eBay still down. And then Whatnot is all the way down to 55%. So we went from 80% to 55% of the income in May. And the next largest expense other than the inventory is shipping labels, because on Whatnot, they provide the shipping labels so you don't have to pay anything. But if you have your own website, then you do have to pay for the shipping labels. Obviously, I charge customers for shipping. I think right now it's free shipping for $250 or more. But the customers are paying for their shipping labels for the majority of the orders. But I still include that in my expenses. So 1.2% shipping labels. And then the stream time is staying steady. We're down to 53 hours from 54 hours. So still doing a lot of streaming, but really Whatnot kind of wasn't as big that month for me because I was focusing on the website. Going into June, you can see the shipping label expenses have gone up because the website is to 28%. It went from 32 to 28%. However, I still feel like I had more orders overall in June. And the stream time is down to 42 hours. So that is 10 hours less than the previous month, 42 hours total for that month. And eBay and Mercari had picked up a little bit more in June, and Whatnot became 53%. So still a little more than half of the revenue, but we are still growing the website and the eBay and the Mercari. Going into July, still inventory and shipping labels are the major costs. Supplies and other is the smaller part of the chart. And you can see there's a huge difference this month in eBay. eBay, I started to really ramp it up because I wanted to build up a store on there. And so I really ramped that up to 29.2% of the income, and the website is at 24. Mercari is up to 12%, and Mercari did really well for me during the summer. And then Whatnot was 34%. And the stream time is up a little bit, actually, this to 47 hours. So even though the stream time is up, the Whatnot percentage of my income has gone down. And I think that is because the summer slow time, as people call it, it was, I won't say it was a struggle during the summer, because it really wasn't, but it's definitely less customers during the summer because summer slowed down. And then we have August, and you can see immediately that my stream time has cut down to 26 hours. And you'll notice that throughout the rest of these months that my stream time goes down a lot because, like I said, I was trying to focus more on my website and eBay and stuff like that. So I basically ramped down the streaming a lot because I just felt like it wasn't worth my time versus the website. So shipping labels still taking up a large portion of the expenses, and then we have inventory down to 95%, which is still obviously high. The other expenses will include advertising and stuff like that. I don't have labels on the chart because they're so small, but I've started buying stickers and business cards and stuff like that. And then you see Mercari is 16%, website is 26%, eBay is 20%, Whatnot is 37%. So it's kind of an even pie chart for the most part on here, which is pretty interesting. And then we have September, and September I started to pay for other services. I think I had like a new email service that will email people. I had, obviously shipping labels took up a huge part of the expenses here compared to the previous months because the website was ramped up, and eBay. And I was doing my shipping labels separate off of eBay because, if you don't know this already, if you use Pirate Ship or any other shipping website for your eBay labels, you can use your credit card and then get cash back on that. So you actually make a lot more by doing your own shipping labels versus doing them on eBay. Now, if there might be some way to do it from eBay, but it's just easier for me to use Pirate Ship and use my credit card. So I was able to track that separately from the eBay cost, which is pretty cool. So shipping labels 6.4%, inventory 91.4%. And then you see here, I really ramped up eBay this month. I had and this month was actually mostly shiny treasure boxes, I believe. And I sold so many shiny treasure boxes during this month because there was a reprint, and I was able to get a ton of them for very cheap. And the profit margins were not extremely high on eBay because of the fees, but I still wanted to build up a customer base on there. Whatnot down to 14.8%. So we're going from 37% down to 14.8% because, like I said, I was really focusing on my website and eBay. And I started a little bit on TCG Player as well. And this is before TCG Player offered Japanese on TCG Player. So that's the main reason why my percentages are so low on TCG Player versus the others. And eBay was the main place that people sold Japanese. And then Mercari is still steady down. Well, it's actually down to 6.4%. I started scaling down a lot on Mercari because if you've ever sold on there, it's very inefficient because you only have one listing per item. So if you want to sell multiple of the same item, you basically have to wait for it to sell and then you have to relist it, versus on eBay or your website, you can set a quantity. So that's the main reason why I haven't been selling on there as much, but I still get a sale here and there. Stream time is down all the way to 14 hours versus the previous 26 hours. Going into October, we have shipping labels up to 5.7% of my expenses. I bought a good amount of supplies, and then the inventory is 93.1. Income, still eBay has taken over the majority of the income percentage. Whatnot, all the way down to 5.5%, which is crazy because it was over half just a couple months prior. And that is one thing that I've learned from this business is you can rapidly change exactly what you want to do, and different strategies work for different people. So if I would have decided to keep doing Whatnot, then it probably would have continued to be in the 80s to the 90% of my income percentage. But I just didn't want to spend the time streaming, and maybe that was a mistake, but In my opinion, I like having the website and the TCG player and the eBay built up, so that way I don't have to be live to sell stuff. But that's just my opinion, and I still highly recommend for beginners to try out Whatnot or any kind of rip and ship. Anyways, getting off of that. So the website is 33.7%, still a good amount. Whatnot down to 5.5. TCG player. So I believe this is the month that TCG player added Japanese, and I was able to start selling boxes on there. And TCG player, I think, has slightly more customers than eBay for, well, I can't really say that. There's just, I'd say they're both about equal probably, but I still like selling on there, and I really started building that up that month. Mercari down to 5%. Going into November, my stream time is down to 3 hours. I think I did maybe 1 or 2 streams in November, and that was just for fun. So basically, at this point, I hadn't done any more streams in December, but we'll get into that. So shipping labels, still high expenses. Obviously, customers are paying for most of them. Website has jumped dramatically in November, and the main reason for that is Terrestrial Festival pre-orders. Terrestrial Festival has launched my website heavily, and to the point where now I don't even have to list on eBay or TCG Player to sell boxes, which I'm highly appreciative of everybody who buys from my website. You guys are awesome. And then Mercari down to 5%. TCG Player has taken over eBay, and that is because I was able to sell more on there. Whatnot down all the way to 1.3%. Mercari at 5.4%. Still selling on eBay. Still selling on TCG Player in November. And now we are going to December, which is this month. And I'm recording this on the 29th, so we still have 2 days left, but I just wanted to go ahead and get this video out before the end of the year. So expenses, 4.4% on the shipping labels, inventory 94.2%. As you can see, the stream time is all the way down to 0. I did not do a single show on Whatnot this month, and I don't know if I'm going to in 2025. We will see, but I just have decided that it's just not worth my time right now because I can't be consistent doing it. And if you're going to do rip and ships or any kind of live show, you have to be consistent. Otherwise, people are just going to find someone else that is. So if I do decide to go to do it, then I'll have to be consistent with it. Anyways, website, 73.7%. And like I said, in November, similar. Most of that is Terrestrial Festival. Almost all of it is. And I'm extremely thankful for everybody for ordering from me. And then we got eBay has gone down a ton, as well as TCG Player, and that's just because I haven't really needed to sell on there. My website has really taken off in December, and I think part of that is Terrestrial Festival. Part of it is my YouTube channel from my viewers, and maybe some of you guys watching right now, which really, like I said, thank you so much. And then I've also started doing more ads on Instagram. That is factored into the expenses there. It's just such a small percentage because I'm still playing with that. And then, TCG Player 20% and eBay 6%. And most of the eBay is actually from graded cards. And this is the total for the year. Inventory 95%, shipping labels 3.3%. And then we have supplies, we have services such as the PSA membership, all that good stuff. And then this is the total income chart, which I find super interesting. We got the website at 33.3%, so exactly 1/3. Whatnot down to 31.5%. And it's just crazy if you look at January that it was the majority of the income, and now it's basically 0 going into next year. It just goes to show how much your business can change based on your strategies. We got Mercari at 7.2%. I don't know if I'm going to be selling on there anymore. I don't like how inefficient it is. I think they're making some changes to the platform next year, so we'll see how that goes, but I probably won't be selling on there much at all. But TCG Player 8.1%, eBay 19.9%. So eBay, TCG Player, I'll still be selling on there. I think it's foolish not to. Both of the platforms are just so popular, and yeah, they have fees, but you have to factor in advertising. They have millions and millions of people that use their website, so it's foolish not to use them. And then stream metrics, 437 hours and 40 minutes stream total in 2024. And for some people, that might be a small amount, but that is a lot of time. And was it worth my time to stream that much? I don't know. Probably not for the amount of money that I've made. And that's part of the reason why I scaled down my whatnot. However, part of that you have to factor in is building up the shop, because you can't just build it from nothing. So it probably was worth it because it got me where I am now. So I wanted to do this segment, type of items sold. I just obviously the main item that I sell is sealed boxes, 98.1%, and graded cards, and this includes singles as well, but it's mostly graded cards at 1.9%. So basically 98 to 2%. And then this one was interesting. I just kind of threw this one together. Shipments on Whatnot, 3,806 shipments. Website eBay TCG Player was 1,759 shipments, and then Mercari was 421. So in total, I have packed over 6,000 packages and shipped them off. That is a lot of packages for one person to do, and it's just part of the business. And it took a lot of time to pack all those orders and ship them off. And thankfully, I think I've only had 1 or 2 orders lost out of those 6,000. Next, we're going to go into social media for the year. So Instagram, we started from basically 0 up to 2,178 followers. And I'm still gaining followers every day on Instagram, even though I'm not posting as much as I should. And I really need to post more on Instagram. Facebook, only 13 followers. I just figured I'd put this on there because I really want to grow my Facebook more. I think Instagram has a bigger community, but I think Facebook is kind of slept on. And then YouTube, 627 subscribers as of recording this, and that was started from 0 at the beginning of the year. And really, I just started making videos in October. So the fact we were able to grow that much in just a few months, you guys are amazing. And my very first video is at like 16K views, which is insane. But I really appreciate everybody who has stuck around. So now we are going to get into my goals for 2025 with the Galaxy Card Shop. So my main goal of 2025 is to increase my graded card plays. So throughout this year, I have focused heavily on sealed boxes. That's still going to be a mainstay of my business, is the sealed boxes. But with the graded card plays, there's much higher profit margins, and I'm going to be doing both Japanese and English for the graded card plays. Previously, this past month, I've only been doing English, but I've been doing more research on the Japanese side, and I will be doing more of those as well. So that's why I kind of have the picture of PSA, because that's going to be the main grading company that I go with. So more graded card plays throughout 2025. There's just so many plays you can make and such high profit margins on them. It's just stupid for me not to do it, in my opinion, because I just think that I am pretty knowledgeable with the market, and I think I could definitely capitalize on that. Next is going to be to double the revenue on my website. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to do more Instagram ads, which obviously you have to spend money to make money. And I also am going to continue with the social media stuff. I'm probably going to sell less on eBay, TCG Player, Mercari, because I want to focus on the website. I think that is the smarter thing to do in the long run, because I can continue building a customer list on my website. I want to add graded cards on my website, maybe. I haven't decided on that completely. I basically only sell my graded cards on eBay lately, but I think I might be able to cross-list them, and that might be smart. And then I want to get as close to 7 figures as possible. I'd say we're probably probably like 1/3 of the way there right now. So I really want to get to 7 figures. It would be cool. Obviously, if I could end up doing this full time one day, that would be amazing. YouTube videos I want to make at least once a week. Mostly going to be doing card shop updates, just things that I've done that week, stuff like that. I want to do market discussions as well, because I love talking about the Pokemon card market. I watch so many people that talk about it, and it's just very entertaining to me, and I just would like to talk about it too with my knowledge. And then I probably will make some more Q&A videos. If you haven't seen my last video, I answered a good amount of questions on there. Speaking of which, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them, and I'll just include them in my next Q&A. I want to continue building up capital in 2025. Like most card shop owners, you have a limited amount of capital. The more you can get, the better, because you can make more plays. You can buy more stuff to sell. I'm going to always be buying and selling. I just don't think right now is the time for me to invest in stuff as much as I would like to. I more than likely am not going to do any kind of long-term investments this year. I think there's a lot of opportunities for it, but I just want to use my capital to continue building it up. And yeah, so I'm going to invest all my profits into the business, and that includes inventory, that includes my setup, all that good stuff. I'm going to invest all my profits into that, not taking a dollar out as long as I can. And then another big goal for 2025 is to spend my time more wisely. And I think that's something that everybody should look into doing for 2025 is try not to work for $1 an hour, if that makes sense. So don't take on a giant collection that's going to take you hours and hours to sell through where you're only going to make a little bit of profit. Try to spend your time wisely, make at least $50 an hour or something like that. Set a number and try to hit that. Try not to work for pennies on the dollar like I did majority of this year. If you're building up your business, it's a little bit different because you kind of have to work for cheap then. But my goal going into 2025 is to increase that dollar per hour work for myself. Now, going towards the end of the video, I kind of wanted to make some market predictions for both the English and Japanese. So we're going to start with English, and most of these predictions are kind of broad, and I just kind of wanted to go with what I thought would be realistic. And yeah, so starting off, I think everyone would probably agree with this, but I think Sword and Shield is done, and that means I don't think they're going to reprint any more Sword and Shield stuff. No, I think Silver Tempest was the last one gone, and I just don't see them reprinting anything else from Sword and Shield. And I think that the alt arts are going to continue to rise, and I think most of them are going to go up 25% by the end of the year. I think a lot of them have already risen because people are realizing that the reprints are done. I think the big ones like the Moonbryon, the Giratina, stuff like that, I think they still have room to grow. I think they could go all the way up to 25% more. And obviously it'll probably bounce throughout the year, down and up. But I think overall, by the end of the year, it'll probably be 25% higher than it is now. And my next prediction was that 151 Blooming Waters will be everywhere until it's not. And that's kind of, a stupid prediction probably, but everyone kind of agrees that 151 is one of the best sets of Scarlet and Violet. And the Blooming Waters, it's predicted that they will be everywhere, such as Sam's Club, Costco, all of that kind of stuff. I think that that might be the last big wave of 151, and it's going to be everywhere like Crown Zenith, and then it's going to be gone. And that kind of is similar to my next prediction, is that Prismatic Evolutions will be printed a lot, similar to Crown Zenith. However, the market's going to eat it up quickly, and the packs will still be expensive. I think that since it's not a booster box set, the packs are going to be probably on par with 151. Next, I'm predicting that probably most people agree with this, but Surging Sparks and Twilight Masquerade will get reprints / restocks. I think right now Surging Sparks is already getting a reprint in the EU with like a half booster box, which I didn't think was real until I looked into it. And Twilight Masquerade being such a popular set, I really think that it will probably get a reprint as well. However, I think prices are probably only going to drop to $130. I just don't see them going below that with how popular those sets are. I think distributors can easily just set them at $130, and that's the lowest they'll probably go. And just similar to all the other ones, the market's going to eat them up within a month probably. And my next prediction is that there is going to be no more $100 boxes on release, and I think that the new release price for Scarlet and Violet booster boxes is going to be $120 to $130, and that's probably all throughout 2025 for booster boxes. I just don't think people are going to be selling boxes at $100 anymore. And not only that, but I think less shops are probably going to do pre-orders on English. And unfortunately, my distributor, I don't get any kind of pre-allocations until I think June. So I won't even be able to do any of the sets for pre-order until the ones after June. And I probably won't be taking pre-orders. We'll see how the market is then, but I think it's probably not smart to do English pre-orders. So no more $100 boxes on release. And then Scarlet Violet base set, Paradox Rift, I think those two sets will probably end up rising to MSRP by the end of the year. I think the big reprints for those two are over. I think Scarlet Violet had a big reprint Paradox Rift had a ton of supply. Most of it's gobbled up. I don't think they're gonna reprint those anymore. They're not extremely popular sets, and I just think that there's too many new ones coming out. So I can see them probably getting up to the MSRP, which is like $161 by the end of the year. Next prediction is Paldea Evolved will hit over $200 by the summer of 2025. I think with this past month, Paldea Evolved had a big restock. It dropped basically to $120. I don't think they're going to reprint it anymore. They might have little small ones here and there, but most people say that it was a restock. I think it was a little bit of both, but I don't think that it's going to get touched much anymore, just like Paradox Rift and Scarlet Violet. However, it is a lot more popular than those two sets, so I think it'll be $200 or more by summer. And finally, my last prediction for 2025 is that Team Rocket will be the most popular set of the year. Like I said, I think most people probably agree with that. I think it'll mimic Surging Sparks, except instead of starting at $100 like Surging Sparks did, I think people will be smarter this time and start it at $130 or more. I could easily see it starting at $140, $150, and it'll go probably past Surging Sparks, how Surging Sparks is now at like $200. I could see it going past that to $250, and this is all assuming that Team Rocket is a booster box set. If it's not, most people are predicting it to be like an ETB type set. This prediction is obviously for if it's a booster box. If it's an ETB, I think it'll be similar to Prismatic, where it's double MSRP, but we will see. Hopefully it'll be a booster box set though. And finally, my last slide is 2025 Pokemon Japanese market predictions. I just wanted to make them separate. So my overall prediction for this year is that there's going to continue to be more demand for Japanese across the board because of the English prices. People don't want to pay $150 to $200 for a booster box. I think that more people are going to lean towards Japanese because it's a lot cheaper. Then my next prediction is Terrestrial Festival reprints are going to hit hard throughout the year. I think that by the summertime, the box will probably be down to $50 because of the amount of reprints. And there'll be enough sets since the release that the demand will go down less to what it is right now. And I'm predicting it'll be $50 by summer. That might be a bold prediction to some, but that's just what I really think will happen. And, the more they print it, the more supply is out there. And the next prediction is the new Japanese sets will start higher than usual for the first month, and that's kind of basing off of this Battle Partners. I haven't started opening pre-orders for it yet, but the boxes are starting at higher than Terrestrial Festival. I know it's still a month away, but I think that because of the amount of hype with Pokemon right now, that the demand is really high, especially on the first month. But then once the English comes out, then that's when it dies down. So just be careful with, buying boxes of Japanese at too high of a price. If you're just opening one or two, it's whatever. But don't expect them to go up throughout the year because they're just going to get printed a lot. That's how Japan works from my experience. And then my next prediction is Shiny Treasure EX will be a $65 box by the end of the year. I think there's only going to be a few more reprints throughout the year that are big. I think the biggest reprints are probably done. They might have one more, but I think it'll be a $65 box. It's already going into the 50s on eBay, I think, right now. I think on my website, I still have them for 40, but it is going up and up every week, it seems. I think that the supply is slowly getting eat up. It's not nearly as popular as Terrestrial Festival, but people like the Bubble Mew, people like the Charizard. I can see it being a $65 box by the end of the year. My next prediction is that there's going to be one more big Japanese 151 reprint. I know we had a ton of them this year. However, I think there's going to be one more, and I could be completely wrong on that, but that's my prediction. I think there might be some small ones throughout the year, but I think there's going to be one more big one, and that's probably the one that you will want to get because it's probably going to be the last big one, in my opinion. It seems like everyone's like, oh, this is the last one. No, this one is. But I think there'll be one more because of the amount of demand in the set. Obviously, Terrestrial Festival is eaten into the demand for Japanese 151, in my opinion. But I think there'll be one more. And then my price prediction for the end of the year is $135. And these price predictions, just take them with a grain of salt. I've only been doing this for a year, so I'm not an expert by any means, in my opinion. But Other people might agree or disagree. And then another prediction is that V-Star Universe will be a $120 box by the end of the year. I think similar to English, they're done with the Sword and Shield reprints. There's just too many boxes for them to print now. I just don't see V-Star getting another big reprint into 2025. I think there's a couple small ones this year. I just think that the box of V-Star Universe, I think $120 is a fair estimate. If you look at the other high-class sets, most of them kind of stabilize at 100. But I think V-Star is much better than those sets, and it's one of the best sets of all time. And most people would agree, similar to Crown Zenith, the English version, that is one of the best sets of all time. And finally, the Team Rocket set for the Japanese, I think it'll start at over $100 a box on release. And similar to all the other sets, there's going to be reprints throughout the year to keep it steady. Similar to the terrestrial price, but 10 to 20% higher, and that's kind of a big percentage. But Team Rocket is definitely going to be the biggest set of 2025, in my opinion. I just think there's so many people that love Team Rocket, and unless Pokemon really botches the cards, which I would be very surprised because they've really been destroying these past couple sets in art. It's just been so good. So I think Team Rocket will be $100 or more on release, and I think it'll probably stay around that for a while until they reprint it to the ground. So just keep that in mind going into 2025. That's just my prediction. So that is it. If you stayed till the end of the video, I really appreciate you. That was this is probably the longest video I've ever made, but I really wanted to make this, and I plan on doing a recap for next year as well, and kind of going over my predictions because I just find it fun. I got this idea from Dan from Catch 'Em All Collectibles. He does the same thing every year, and I just thought I would do it myself because it would be fun. So if you enjoyed, please hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in 2025.